Inside this box are few items under Goovis brand. Goovis is a Chinese brand, and the name sounds a little bit stupid in English. However, seemingly they were trying to incorporate two things into the name: Go and Vision. They used double O to make it look like an eternity sign, and Viz is a shortcut from Vision. So basically, Goovis is about vision on the go, and they specialize in head-mounted stereoscopic displays and some accessories for those. Important thing to understand that Goovis devices are not VR headsets. They can and do produce a 3D image as well as 2D image, however, they don't have head tracking, large field of view, pass-through cameras, and all those things normally associated with a VR device. This is basically a 3D monitor strapped to your head. On this channel, I already reviewed two previous devices from Goovis. If you are interested in this kind of tech, I strongly recommend to watch those two videos, since in this review I will do my best not to repeat myself where possible. A few things I have already shown in the previous reviews, for example this Android TV player. Basically, this is a box which will add Android functionality to any display you have. That may be a non-smart TV, a smart TV with a different operating system, a PC monitor, preferably with built-in speakers for sound, and so on. It does support 4K video, it does support HDR, and most importantly, it supports AV1. AV1 is a new, open source and royalty-free codec for streaming video, and most streaming services, such as Netflix, YouTube, Twitch, and many others, are gradually replacing proprietary codecs like H.264 and H.265 to this new open source one. So it's nice that this device supports them. All in all, it's your standard Android, however, it's tailored to be controlled from an included TV remote rather than a touchscreen. However, you can connect it to your phone and use your phone to control this device. It connects to the network via Wi-Fi. It has most popular streaming apps built in, for example Netflix and YouTube, and on the remote you have dedicated buttons to activate those. However, since it's Android, you have access to Google Play Store and can install any apps including other streaming services. The box itself is very simple to connect. All you need to do is to hook it up to an HDMI port and supply it with power via USB Type-C connector. If your monitor or TV has USB ports, you can use them for power. However, if you need it on the go, you can supply power from a power bank. Any power bank will do, but included in the package is a special power bank that connects to this very specific device magnetically and via pogo connectors, and it is able to power not only the player itself, but also supply power to the connected Goovis headset, which I will show in a bit. However, as I said, this device has an HDMI out, and if you want to connect it to a device which has Type-C connection, which carries DisplayPort signal, you will need an adapter, which is included. Many devices that have DisplayPort output, that is video cards, players, and so on, which output signal, they have their DisplayPort in dual mode. That means that the DisplayPort on such a device can output both DisplayPort signal and HDMI signal, which can be connected to a receiving device, that is a screen, with inexpensive passive adapters. So you can connect DisplayPort output to a HDMI input with relative ease. However, it's not the case for the opposite. If you want to connect an HDMI output, for example a video card, to a DisplayPort input, for example a computer monitor, you will need an active converter box, which in many cases is a rather expensive device. This adapter here does exactly this. It takes HDMI input, converts it to DisplayPort and sends it over Type-C connector, and it also has an additional Type-C plug where you connect external USB power to power any device on the Type-C side. It is not always required, I will tell you about that in a bit. However, in most cases, you will also need to supply power to this adapter to power the Goovis headset. However, the box says that this is version 2.0. In my last review, I featured a first version of the same adapter, so let's compare them. They look very similar. The new device has a completely metal case, however, the old adapter also has a layer of translucent plastic over it. The ports and their locations are exactly the same, however, the new adapter also adds icons what I is supposed to connect to those inputs and outputs to make it more clear. And also there is an included very short HDMI male to HDMI male patch cable, and the old one had your normal PVC insulation, however the new one also adds a paracord fabric insulation on top of that. But frankly speaking, the differences between the two versions of the same adapter are purely cosmetic. They both work, so you can use either of them. What I haven't shown yet in my reviews is this. This is wireless earbuds. They are true wireless headphones, which come in a charging case with Type-C connection for charging, and they look pretty much similar to hundreds of other TWS options on the market. The cool thing is this LED strip on the case to indicate its state, which looks pretty cool. In general, these are your normal Bluetooth earbuds. They use Bluetooth 5.2 protocol and offer sub 30 milliseconds latency, which is atrocious for gaming or any dynamic content. However, for video content and pre-recorded content like music, the delay doesn't matter at all since it is usually compensated by the player. So the player keeps the video in sync with the audio by adding delay to the video as well when you are using Bluetooth headphones. However, if you open the case, which by the way looks like some kind of a futuristic toilet. Anyway, beside the earbuds, there is also a little adapter. This adapter has a Type-C pass-through connection. That means that you first insert the adapter to your device, and then take the headset USB cable and insert it into the adapter. This adapter is basically a wireless transmitter, which is detected as a USB sound card in the operating system, and it works both ways. It sends the sound to the earbuds to play it, and it also receives the sound from the microphone, so you can use it as a communication device. So basically you have two ways to connect these earbuds. The first one is the classic one using Bluetooth, or you can also go the USB route. And you can use these standalone. You don't need to plug anything into them. You can plug this transmitter into your computer or phone or tablet and use the headphones wirelessly, not using the Bluetooth capabilities of your device. And finally, the star of the show, Goovis G3X. In the past, I have reviewed G3 Max and also Goovis Lite, and this device is somewhere in the middle. It has features from both of those devices, and also it has some new features not seen on any of the Goovis devices before. In the hard shell carrying case, you have the device itself with the attached blend or curtains, a curtain extender, a USB Type-C to Type-C cord, a head mount or better yet a forehead mount, and a strap to attach the forehead mount to your head. Similar to all other Goovis devices, this also attaches only to your forehead. So you have this pad which rests against your forehead, and the goggles themselves can be flipped up and down. Most of the VR headset manufacturers, for example, have stepped away from this design, and currently most of the VR headsets just sit tightly on your face, similar to ski goggles. Moreover, many manufacturers also offer this blend cushion tailored to your particular face for a better seal. On one hand, I can see the benefits, since this tighter seal blocks most, if not all, the outside light, making the experience better. However, on the con side, this type of mount puts too much pressure on your face, and in many cases, your face sweats and becomes irritated after a couple hours of use. This flip-up design doesn't put any pressure on your face, especially on the bridge of your nose, making this type of mount more comfortable for prolonged use, in my opinion at least. Your only pressure point is your forehead, And given that the device is very lightweight, it's about 200 grams or so, that enables you to use this device for hours and hours without fatigue. However, since there is no actual seal between this eye cushion and your face, some light may still get passed inside the goggles, making the experience a little bit worse. To counter that, Goovis also includes a plastic extender between the cushion and the headset itself, making the curtains closer to your face. So the gap between the curtains and your face will be smaller. The new thing about this model is the way those cushions and extenders are mounted. Unlike the previous models where you have to snap them in and out, in this case they are magnetically attached to the goggles, so it is very easy to take them out if you want, for example, to wash them in warm and soapy water. Another thing which is present on all Goovis devices, including this one, is optical interpupil distance correction. IPD is basically the spacing of the lenses, which should match the spacing between your eyes for you to be able to actually see stereoscopic image inside. So in this case, there are two sliders which independently adjust the spacing of the left and the right lenses separately, as I said. And as in all Goovis headsets, this one also has the vision correction or diopter correction. You can go from +2 all the way to -8. And this is extremely important for those people who wear prescription glasses. Most headsets, especially VR headsets, don't have enough space for you to be able to wear your prescription glasses while using the VR headsets. So you have to resort to contact lenses, or those headsets offer custom tailor-made vision correction lenses that you will have to install on the VR headset. And that, combined with a custom-made cushion, makes such a VR headset a very personalized device. Since only your face can fit into the headset and the lenses are adjusted for your particular eyesight, that means that only you can actually use this headset. Other people, for example, your family members, will not be able to use this particular headset unless they have the same physical form of their faces and similar vision problems. Goovis, on the other hand, has this adjustable blend and also adjustable diopter correction, and that means that this can be used by a wide variety of people without making any permanent changes to the headset. You just adjust it according to your face and your eyesight, and you're good to go. G3 Max had these corrections separately, so they were separate controls for interpupil distance correction and separate knobs for diopter. G3X uses the same approach that I have shown on the light version of Goovis headset, and it combines the sliders for IPD and the knobs for diopter correction. Other adjustments include the brightness rocker and the sound volume rocker. The headset has a 3.5mm output to connect your headphones. Please note this is an output. You are not able to transmit sound inside your PC, for example, since this device uses DisplayPort, and DisplayPort cannot carry sound back to the device. So this is for playback only. The connector is slightly tilted to the side, so your headphone jack will not interfere with the silicon curtain blend. On the other part of the device, there is a USB-C connector, which is also tilted to the side, so it will not interfere with the facepad. There is another Type-C connector on the top of the device. I'm not sure what it is supposed to be used for, probably for some accessories. The headset also has a presence sensor, which will turn off the screens as soon as you flip up or remove the headset. Here you also have a 2D to 3D button. This button activates 3D side-by-side mode. I already talked about this in detail in previous reviews. In short, side-by-side is when you take a normal full HD image, slice it into halves, and put image dedicated for one eye on one side of the frame and the image dedicated for another eye on the other side of the frame. That means that you are able to transmit 3D signal from any source, even those that are not able to play proper 3D streams, so this increases compatibility. However, the problem is you will lose half of the resolution. This particular model, G3X, also supports proper 3D mode. It is sometimes called Blu-ray 3D or frame packing. That means that the video output transmits two separate full-resolution Full HD images, one for the left eye, the other for the right eye. Of the other two headsets I own, Goovis Lite didn't have this option, it only supports side-by-side. However, G3 Max does have this full Blu-ray 3D compatibility. There is also a cooling fan inside the device. It is always on, and unfortunately it's quite noticeable since it's very close to your face and ears. However, this cooling fan plays a very important function. First of all, it cools down the internal components, especially the lenses, to prolong their lifespan, and secondly, it also acts as a defogger, so the optics inside this device will not get fogged from the moisture in your breathing, for example, which is also very important. The forehead pad is detachable, and inside you can clearly see 4 pogo pins, and these pogo pins are connected to 2 speakers on both sides of the device. They output sound through a slice at the side of the housing, and as these speakers are near your ears, you can hear the sound. The sound is not great, especially the bass part. However, you won't have much trouble understanding spoken word, for example. The only issue is the people around you will still hear what's going on inside your headset, so most probably you will still want to use proper headphones or earbuds. I have never personally seen such a solution myself. However, VR headsets on the market, such as Quest, Pico, and Apple Vision, all have similar arrangement for speakers. So it's not something new, I just personally haven't experienced that before. If we compare the 3 headsets I have, aesthetically, this new G3X headset definitely looks better than the Lite. However, personally I prefer the look of G3 Max, but the G3X is much smaller than G3 Max. It also has this mirror type thing in the front, and when the device is on, there is a Goovis logo illuminated on that. That's all about the outside and aesthetics. Now let's go into technical details. The device uses spherical lenses, and I again warn you that direct sunlight into these lenses may permanently damage the screens inside the device, so try to avoid direct sunlight getting inside the lenses. The screens are micro OLEDs, Full HD, 60Hz displays. There are 2 identical ones inside, one for each eye. If the promo materials are to be believed, the screens are manufactured by Sony, which is different from both of the previous headsets that I have reviewed, since both of them were using micro OLED screens from a Chinese brand. In this regard, this new G3X model is similar to Goovis Young T2 model, which seems to be using the same micro OLED screens from Sony. At least they have the same specifications. They are both micro OLED Full HD 60Hz screens. Goovis marketing materials insist on adding the resolutions of both screens, and for some reason they say that this headset is cinematic 4K. It is not. You cannot add 2 screens to make it one. Since each eye only sees one screen, that means that each eye will only be able to see Full HD resolution, and this headset is Full HD. It's not 4K. I had similar issue with G3 Max, which was advertised as 5K screen, but in reality it used 2 QHD screens, which is 2560 by 1440, and for the same reasons it's not 5K, it's QHD. For the G3 Max, they also mentioned 120Hz refresh rate, which G3 Max can do, but in Full HD, not QHD. In native QHD resolution, G3 Max is only capable of 60Hz refresh rate, not 120Hz. This one, G3X, is only able to make 60Hz at Full HD. Anyway, the screens are magnificent. They are bright, the colors are vivid, the contrast is nice, everything is good. Some people say that from VR perspective, IPS screens are better than OLEDs since they have higher pixel density. That means that the gaps between individual pixels are less on IPS screen compared to an OLED, and that minimizes the screen door effect. As for me, I would prefer OLED over any IPS screen. In my personal opinion, of all the screen technology existing today, the best suitable for head-mounted displays is OLED. At this point, most other reviewers will try to somehow squeeze their camera to have a peek on the screens through the lenses to showcase the magnificent screen. I find it a little bit stupid, since the image will be distorted first by the lenses of the headset, then by the lenses of the camera, then by the sensor of the camera, then by whatever codec the camera uses to store the video, then by whatever codec is used to compress the rendered video, then by whatever codec YouTube is using to compress uploaded reviews, and after all of that, you will look at this screen on your existing screen. How this is going to give you an impression of how good the screen is if you are watching it from your existing screen you already own. It is as stupid as seeing an advertising for a new TV or a new monitor and its vivid colors, resolution or whatever on your existing TV or monitor. A very important question is how to connect this device. Let's start with that Android player. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a Type-C output, it only has HDMI output, and that's why you have to use that adapter. However, in most cases, HDMI doesn't carry enough power to power this headset, but this particular player and the power bank it comes with is an exception. The HDMI port here carries enough current to power the Goovis headset. So all you need to do is to connect the short HDMI cable to the player, connect the adapter to the cable, and then connect a single Type-C cable from the headset to the adapter. That's all you need. You do not need external power. However, this is an exception, and I don't really know why they didn't include the Type-C connector on the player. Goovis has another device which is a screencast module, and that does have a Type-C out, as I showed in the previous review. Anyway, if you're going to connect Goovis headset to any HDMI out, you will probably need this external power. So how it works? You connect the HDMI cable to the HDMI output on your device, this old laptop for example. You connect the other side of the cable to the adapter. You connect Goovis Type-C to the appropriate port on the adapter, and you will also need to connect power. 5 volts, 2 amps will be enough from any source of USB power, for example a wall wart or a power bank. This is how you connect a Goovis device to any HDMI out device. For example, your computer, your laptop, your video player, or whatever. However, if you have a more modern device which has Type-C video out, which can carry DisplayPort signal, and this mode is called Alt-DP, that may be a modern laptop, a modern video card, and even some smartphones and tablets do support Alt-DP mode in their Type-C connection. So in this case, all you need to do is to connect a single Type-C cable from the Goovis headset to this Type-C out on your laptop, for example, and this cable will be used for everything. It will carry video, it will carry audio, and it will also carry power from your laptop, for example, to power Goovis headset. Recently, a few handheld gaming devices appeared on the market, most notably Steam Deck, ROG Ally, Lenovo Legion Go, MSI Claw, and some others, and they all have Type-C connectors capable of delivering DisplayPort and power. Just recently, a new device appeared, which is called Techno Pocket Go, which looks like a very large, oversized gamepad which has similar hardware to ROG Ally, sans the screen, and the screens are actually goggles that connect to this Pocket Go console. With Goovis headset, you can achieve the same result by connecting Goovis with a single cable to a console, ROG Ally in this case, and you can also include the dongle from the wireless earbuds. There is another interesting device, and that is the remote controller to a drone, in this case a DJI drone. This remote controller runs Android and is able to produce output through Type-C connector using that LTDP protocol. So all you need to do is to connect Goovis headset to the remote controller with a single Type-C cable, and the screen of the controller will be mirrored inside Goovis headset, enabling you to fly your drone in first point of view mode. Well, I know that DJI, for example, have a dedicated goggle device specifically for this purpose, but Goovis headset is more versatile than that. If you are new to FPV drone flying, what I suggest to do, at least initially, is to switch the drone into cinematography flying mode, which makes the flight a little slower, and as a result the transmitted image is much less shaky. And you have to do it since, at least initially, you can get motion sickness. So get used to FPV flying in a more relaxed mode before you switch to sport mode, for example. So how the image in this G3X model compares to the other Goovis headsets I have. It is very similar to Goovis Lite, and I find G3X very comfortable to look through, since this virtual screen is positioned about 2 virtual meters from your eyes, and at least for me this is a comfortable distance to watch the screen, and I can do it for hours and hours without eye strain. And an important thing is that you see the entire image, so you don't have to rotate your eyeballs to look at the sides of the screen. All of the screen is inside your field of view. The con to this is that you see blackness around the screen, and it is especially noticeable in the lower part, to the point you want to insert some virtual chairs behind this virtual screen. Also, the marketing materials often say something like, looking through these goggles is like watching an 800-inch screen from 20 meters away, which I don't think is true. In my experience, using these goggles is like watching a 50-inch screen from about 2 meters away. In G3 Max, the distance to this virtual screen feels to be less, so in G3X it's more comfortable. However, since G3 Max has higher resolution, the screen is also much wider, and you actually have to rotate your eyes to look at the corners of the screen. On one hand, this is better for immersion, since you cannot see the end of the screen, at least on the left and the right side. But from productivity point, that means if you're going to use these goggles to do some work, which you totally can, maybe Goovis 3X is better suited for that purpose, since you can see the entire screen without moving your eyes. Once again, this is not a VR headset. It's a 3D capable stereoscopic display. You can see stereoscopic images, but your head will not be tracked, and you will still see black bars around it. It is perfect for playing 2D games, however you may still experience motion sickness, and you will have to train yourself to actually not experience it. And it is also perfect for playing stereoscopic games. The image will be in 3 dimensions, but it will not be VR. One of the best games to play in stereoscopic VR is probably Batman Arkham City. And also there are filters and mods and other ways that enable you to play games in stereoscopic 3D, even for the titles that don't naturally support that. And the final question from the comments left under my previous reviews of Goovis products: is Goovis reliable? Is it safe to shop from them? Who knows? I can only tell from my personal experience. As you can see, I have 3 Goovis headsets. I had no trouble getting them. I've been using them for a couple years, and they still work just fine. But you have to understand that Goovis is not a mainstream manufacturer. It's more of a boutique manufacturer with lower volumes, but they still have costs which they need to cover somehow, and that's why Goovis products may be a little bit overpriced. However, mainstream brands also have troubles with their headsets. Valve seems to have forgotten that they actually have a VR headset. Meta Facebook is losing $60 billion or more on their Quest headsets and the entire metaverse thing. And Sony has produced 2 million of their PlayStation VR 2 headset and were only able to sell a couple 100,000 of those. So it doesn't really matter if the brand is well known or not. So again, Goovis is a very niche device. It's not for everyone, but if you want one, you can follow the link in the description to find out how you can get your own.
I'm the god of YouTube!
Like, subscribe, jingle bells.